There we go.
All right, everybody. So we're live, episode 14, season 2, just the Gi Top podcast. So today we have Thomas Beach on. Thomas is a black belt at Toronto BJJ. So first of all, Thomas, thank you very much for coming on today.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Thomas, as we'll see tonight, has been through a lot with respect to injuries. He's been a lot. He's done a lot in jiu-jitsu, accomplished a ton. Looking at his list of accomplishments here. Jordan's throwing around to disregard that. You good? You good there, Jordan?
Jordan, what's going on?
It's all right.
Earthquake in Guelph. Okay, so just going through your list of accomplishments here, Thomas. 2011 World No-Gi Brown Belt Silver Medalist. 2010 ADCC European Qualifier Bronze. 2010 World Championship Silver Medalist at Purple. 2010 ADC Pro Worlds Quarterfinalist. Another ADCC Pro Gold Medalist, North American Trials, New York International Purple Belt Gold Medalist. Now this is an interesting one. So 2009 BJJ World Champion Blue Belt World Champion Gold at Blue Belt. So is it true that you're the only at this point only Canadian male to win an adult gold?
I think in the gi, yeah, the Mundial.
Yeah.
And that was kind of funny. That's actually a good story because that was like the first tournament that I not the first tournament I won, I don't think, at Blue Belt, but that was really for me the motivating factor because I came to jiu-jitsu and I was just I really had nothing to do with my life at that point as a kid, and then I was just training, and then the Worlds came up and they're like, okay, he's working hard, send him, and I don't think I was expected to win, nor did I think I would. And then it just went well that day, and then I think it wasn't really the title itself that was special to me. I think it was the fact of doing well and sort of giving yourself that confidence, oh, okay, I can do well in this maybe. You know what I mean? It wasn't per se the actual title. But yeah, it was a good day.
I would say that's awesome.
Yeah.
So just to touch as usual, we have our regular podcast panel members: Ahmed Sharani,
Hello.
Jordan Short,
Hello.
and myself, Adam Cousins. So Thomas, before we get into kind of talking about your journey and how you've gotten to the place where you are, there was an event last night that Ahmed refed, and Thomas, you were there as well.
Then yelling like a jerk, like usual. That's what I do.
So, Ahmed, did you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, just 1 second. Jordan, are you in a wind tunnel? I'm just wondering if you're in a wind tunnel there or something.
Keep going. You know what? I know what the problem is. I'll be right back.
Okay, good. No problem.
Okay,
Thank you. But yeah, you know what, Thomas, that event that we had yesterday, that's very interesting. The fact is that, the more promoters are doing this now, they're putting together these super fights. And even charging admission, maybe paying these guys, give them some kickbacks, whatnot. But it's definitely it's interesting, and I'd like a perspective on this. But what are your thoughts on more events like this taking place to get these jiu-jitsu guys noticed, right? Like right now we have limited tournaments, and it's so what, you win gold at whatever, it doesn't do much for you. But this one, it's making it professional.
Totally. I know exactly what you're getting at. Yeah. I'm so happy when I see these things happen, and I went up to Sam after, and I gave him a thank you, because anyone who's putting these things on, first off, when you're trying to set something up, and as you guys know, getting people on the podcast, people bailing out and having issues, as we know, and you have people in super fights drop off, and to organize the thing, it's a difficult thing to do, and you're not getting a lot out of it yourself anyways. So for the people who are doing it, I really appreciate it, and I'm sure a lot of others do, because it helps the athletes, in a sport like ours, who get pretty much no exposure and no respect, who can maybe make a little bit of money, who can get a little more exposure, and it's just, I really appreciate it. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, it was definitely a step in the right direction, man. Like I said, the matches were all pretty high caliber. I mean, we had some yeah, sorry.
Can you just talk, for anybody who doesn't know about the event, can you just kind of...
Oh, yeah, sorry about that, guys. Yeah, sorry. It's called The Duel. This was the third one or second one? Second one.
I think the second one.
Yeah, it's the second one. Yeah, so it's by invite only. Super fights happen at all belt levels. It could be as low as as low as blue, all the way up to black. And what it is there's a small modest fee at the door if you want to come spectate. It's really good, good that way. And it's run by Sam Zakula out of Battle Arts in Brampton, Ontario, Canada. And like I said, I think there's going to be another one in a couple months, and I look forward to joining it. I'm not super fight worthy, but I'd like to ref it. And it was really well. Toronto BJJ represented well. They did pretty good there, and I don't know. So hey, that's it. That's it in a nutshell for those who are wondering what it is. I'm sure they're looking into streaming in the future, like maybe some streaming for the event, but it's definitely a step in the right direction.
Were there any standouts or any upsets?
You know what? Let's let Thomas answer that. He in your opinion, you were there.
I got there a little bit late. I didn't expect to hit traffic, but anyways, that's me. I'm always seemingly to be late, but I'm trying to think of an upset. I can't remember. I don't think so. Like I believe that our blue belt Adam, I expected him to. I don't know if he fought another blue belt or a purple belt.
It's Shane Fishman, right?
Yeah, purple belt.
Yeah.
It was a purple belt. Yeah.
He fought a purple.
Yeah.
Well, like I don't know if that was like a what would you call like a bad beat or something. It's just part of the game. You win, you lose. I don't think there was anything particularly crazy that happened.
Yeah, no, I mean, it went almost like the full time. I believe it was 7 minutes. It almost went right to the end, but it ended in a submission. But like you said, that's jiu-jitsu. You're supposed to get submitted. So
it's just experience in the end, right? Like,
yeah.
At the end of the day, like, I think it really what matters is when you get to the black belt, and especially if you're a competitor, right? Like what happens at that belt is going to be most important. So, especially in the beginner belts, you can not put too much stress on yourself and more use it as like experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even though in the moment, like it's harder to feel that way, right? Because it's going to matter to you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say, Ahmed, when you told me the results this morning, I was a little bit surprised to see that Adam lost that match. And no disrespect at all to Shane Fishman. I've competed against Shane. He's an amazing competitor, but maybe it's just that Adam has beat me more and more recently that I was surprised to see that.
He's a tough kid. Adam's a really tough kid. I think maybe the nerves got the best of him. Sometimes you just don't have your day, right? But
yep.
You live and learn, so it's all good.
Well, it was also a little different from any other scenario that most people are used to. Usually we go on a mat, we compete. Nobody really, you don't know if people are looking at you. Maybe some are, some aren't. But in this case, everyone was looking.
That's a good point. I don't believe he did. He's done a super fight. I really do believe he was nervous, and but he's blue belt, and it's just a good experience. I told him, don't worry about it. Just on to the next, and that's it.
Yeah.
We're proud of him still, so it's okay.
Oh yeah, he's an amazing competitor, and no disrespect to Adam there.
No,
and he's a good kid too, so.
But so all in all, good event.
Is this being directed to me?
Yeah,
I don't know. I thought it was really, really well done. Again, like going back to what we talked about before, like it's hard to make those things happen, and you're like Sam's not getting a ton out of it financially, I would assume, and I just appreciate it, and I know a lot of other people do too, so I think it was really good.
Yeah, I'm definitely of the opinion that anything that helps to to promote jiu-jitsu or to showcase some of the really great talent that we have here is always a positive.
Yeah, totally, man. I mean, in Canada, it's like you get no exposure, and like if you're in Cali or something, I mean, like the sponsorships and like the connections you have with people, it's just so much easier, right? And a big part of it is even just having that mental edge over people, and knowing that people know you can help in a way, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
yeah, it's harder
Absolutely.
here.
Yeah, no, and like I said, I've been saying, I said this in the past, where I really, in the future, what I'd like to see for jiu-jitsu is more events like this, or almost like it's a professional league where these guys come in and they get paid and they can get steady income, and leave the local tournaments to like guys like us who just want to have fun and whatever. But you got other guys who want to make a genuine living, and I hope this opens up more avenues, and we'll see it in the future. It might not be in the next 5 years, but it's it's a step in the right direction. So.
Yeah, it's got to
Ahmed,
start somewhere for sure.
Yeah.
Ahmed, I think you should, if you learn some leg locks, I think you'd be a super fight contender for sure.
I do not believe in leg locks. I think no, I'm just joking. They're legit. I don't need to worry about them. I'll worry about them when I have to. But,
You're gonna get your brown belt soon, and it's gonna be that.
then I'll lose all my tournaments for the first year, and then I'll learn.
Ahmed just wants to have a huge contrast between his upper body and lower body attacks. He'll be a black belt in arm bars and white belt in knee bars.
That's how you learn, though. I mean,
Okay, Thomas. So, as somebody who has been through this, did you start learning leg locks before brown belt?
I'm trying to think back. I think that like 1 or 2 times per week, like in a no-gi class, all the purples, like the competitors especially, like you're so excited and you want to start attacking the legs. And in the no-gi class, there's a bit more room for that. We were allowed to, I believe, but we would sneak it in more then, and I think it would George would let it be a little bit more, but in the gi class at purple belt, of course not, like no toe holds or anything.
yeah. See.
So in no-gi, like we played with it a bit, but I think pretty much like brown belt is when I actually started to really even try them.
Thank you. See, that's exactly what I'm saying.
I feel so vindicated right now.
I don't know if that's correct, like maybe I could have done it a better way, but it just ended up being that way, and I'm open to whatever,
I wonder how many schools are like that, though. I mean, it seems pretty common. Like a lot of people don't seem to train until much later on. And I mean, a lot of it's for safety in class and stuff like that. Like, I mean, you want to have control and things like that. You don't want like white belts trying knee bars and heel hooks and things like that on people. People can get hurt that way.
I think I think it's important, like how the belts are set up. It sort of forces you to develop in certain areas, and then, but at the same time, like I do think at purple belt, like when you're getting towards the brown belt stage, that you should start playing a little bit with it, and the instructor could start to push you in that direction.
Okay, fair enough. Okay. All right, guys. So we're done picking on that. Like, are we?
Yeah, we're done picking on you on that. Don't worry.
Okay. All right.
So, Thomas, like I said, Thomas has been through a lot with respect to injuries. So, Tom, maybe you could just start by kind of just telling us how you got into jiu-jitsu, and I know you've talked a bit about like the World Championships, but just a bit about how you got in, and then maybe start talking about like the injuries that you've had.
I think more specifically before the injuries, if you could tell us your training schedule. I've heard stories of you, the legend, saying that that you trained like a madman, like you were possessed, like you trained nonstop. So if you can lead us from how you started, your training regimen, and then what led you to.
Okay. I think that's really connected, the excessive training and getting hurt. So
yeah.
I think I just I really had nothing going on. I was just like I wasn't like going to university or anything, and I just walked in Toronto BJJ, started doing some jiu-jitsu there, and I think I was doing some MMA class or something, and Claude Padrock was running it at the time, and he's a really good MMA coach, by the way, and he's a really good fighter, and I think that when we were doing the ground aspect of the MMA class, I was like, oh, I really like this. And then I think I did like 2 more of those classes, and then I just jumped right in the gi, and I was just doing gi strictly. So the MMA didn't last very long, maybe like a week or something. And then let me think. It just turned into like I started like mopping the mats, going place, handing out cards, like Toronto BJJ cards, doing the postering, these types of things, and just training 3 times a day sometimes, like in the morning, the afternoon, and the evening. And it was pretty much me and Mikey. We did that together, like excessively, all the way. It was pretty much us and blue belt just training constantly. That was it.
How old were you when you started there?
I think was I just before I turned 18.
Okay.
I think I'd be 17, if I remember correctly.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, that I don't know if that answers it or if there's something.
Well, yeah, no,
more on
that's
that.
great. So that's how that's how you got started. Then you got into 3-a-days, and then I guess, and like you were only 17, 18 years old. When did things start to, get hurt a little bit? Like your first maybe injury or something, and
Oh, things were. I mean, like we did the 3-a-days, and like we had the sort of the jiu-jitsu house. We had all the guys in there. Like everybody was just like broke and eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and just like we were just grinding for a while, and everything was going well, competing, and and then I'm trying to think when did it all start. Purple belt was fine, got the purple, went well. Brown belt, it went fine. Like even like my first brown belt tournament or 1 or 2 was like the New York Open, and I won, and like everything was going smoothly, and I just felt great about everything. And I don't think I'd had any injuries up till even brown belt.
oh wow.
And then like maybe little things where like I had a busted thumb or something, and you're taping it up, like small things, right? And then it was just like a domino effect. Like I tore my LCL, and then I tore my other LCL, and then I tore my MCL, and then the other MCL, which I didn't need surgery for these because they were like partial tears. So I just taped up and put braces on. And then I got, then I tore my medial meniscus and my left knee, but it was a bucket handle tear, and then it locked. So I had to get surgery on it. And then once that healed after like a few weeks, because when you scope it, I don't think it's not too major. And then I came back my first training, and then I blew out my right knee, the exact same injury. Weirdly enough, I had a medial meniscus tear on my right knee, bucket handle, like exactly. And then I had surgery on that knee. I came back, and it's so hard to give you a timeline because after that I dislocated my shoulder, and then I tore my AC joint, and then that healed up. Bear with me, I'm trying to remember everything.
Yeah.
And then I was going to do the kumite with the Lloyd Irvin thing.
Yeah.
And then I tore my pec. It was like a tennis ball size tear in my pec when they did the ultrasound. Like I couldn't use my arm at all. And then do you want me to keep going, like onto the back stuff?
Yeah, no, let's keep going.
And then so I was trying to still compete and stuff. I guess I was in like desperation mode, right? Like I was trying to compete while I wasn't training enough, and I was injured, right? Like I was taping things up and stuff. Like it was really stupid. And I like taking painkillers and stuff. A lot of painkillers to like so I could compete. And then it got to the point where like I started like I had incontinence, where you start to basically piss yourself. You're leaking, right? Because the nerves are all messed up from the herniated discs and stuff. And my right leg, it started to go like limp, like it wasn't working. And then I went to the hospital, and like the pain got so bad, like I couldn't do anything. And then they gave me the first surgery, which sort of cleared out the disc, but they couldn't. It's like the L5-S1, the sciatic nerve. Like if you've heard people with sciatic pain.
Yeah.
So what happened was they fixed the problem where I wasn't pissing myself anymore, and my right leg would start to work, which was a great relief, right? Because it's kind of embarrassing, right? Like you're like a grown man and you're like peeing yourself, and then my leg didn't work, but once they fixed that, it was great. But the problem was they didn't relieve part of the disc, so like the pain was like unbelievable. It was so bad. And then I was still trying to compete and go around like to like Chicago and stuff. And I was just taking a lot of Percocets so I could compete, which was just so stupid. You know, you look back, it's just I was so desperate, right, to try and succeed because I was doing so well, and I just saw all the guys that I grew up along through the ranks with, like they were going on with their thing, right, and I wanted to keep up. And I just made the stupid decision just to take painkillers and try and compete. And then like I remember in Chicago, I was sitting on the toilet and I couldn't even go to the washroom, and I heard them call me to mat 7. So I already had some Percocets at that point. I just got off the toilet. I went to compete, and I just pulled deep half guard, and I passed the collars. You did like the Bernardo Faria one?
Yeah.
And I just pretended like I was trying to sweep, and because I couldn't do anything. I couldn't, like I was in so much pain. And then I just swept them at the end, and I just pretended like I was doing stuff. Won, and then I just took a bunch more Percocets, and then I competed the rest, and then that night I took muscle relaxants and more, and then I just competed the next day, the absolutes, and it just kept getting worse and worse until I just couldn't bear it. I couldn't like get out of bed, and then I had to have another surgery, and that's sort of it.
That's crazy.
How many Percocets were you taking a day? Especially when you're competing, you said you were taking Percocets after Percocet.
Like the day that I competed in Chicago, like the second day, because I had to do when I was doing like the absolute. I think I don't know, like upwards of like maybe 20.
Oh, that is insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like pure desperation, like just completely. I don't want to use the word retarded. That's not a proper word, but I don't know, like completely idiotic, you know. It was just pure desperation, and I was just like, I want to do well so bad, and you see other people like doing well, then they're going forward in their career, and you don't want to be left behind. And I made really poor choices, and then they did a double fusion, and a few more things like a laminectomy and some other weird things that I don't know the name of, and I still have 5 herniated discs and a couple like what do you call? I forgot the name. Like deformities, and they have to deal with that later on. But the idea now by the surgeon is they fix me for a while now, and then I can have the surgeries down the line, sort of when I'm done competing.
Tom, sorry, Jordan. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm just wondering. Like, I'm curious. Like, is this all related to BJJ, or is some of this have to do like with your particular anatomy? Like, I know. I mean, I don't have injuries nearly severe as yours, but actually I'm dealing with a medial meniscus tear, bucket handle in my left knee right now.
Oh, it's locking up?
I have surgery booked for next month. I also have a partial tear in the medial meniscus in my right knee, and the doctor said that it was like my knees are not designed for this, and that I'm prone to tears in my medial meniscus.
In my opinion, I would get it scoped. Because the problem with when you get it sewn with the meniscus, it doesn't have a lot of blood flow to the area. So sometimes you wait like 6 months because when you sew your meniscus, you need to wait a long time for it to heal, and sometimes it doesn't heal. So you wait like 6 months and you're screwed, and then they have to scope it anyways. So it's usually worth just scoping it, and then you're walking in like 10 days. You could train in 2 to 3 weeks. So it's not a huge deal.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, I was just gonna ask. All those injuries, is that so? Also, I think what Jordan's trying to ask is it also purely jiu-jitsu related? Meaning, were you doing some weightlifting? Were you doing powerlifting or something that maybe activated some of this? Or
the thing that made me feel slightly better was the surgeon said, I believe I was actually talking to my wife about it today, that because we were all debating with the family, and he said it was about 85% genetic. Like I just have problems with my back, and this just sort of exacerbated the problem.
Okay.
Well, so yeah. How much time was between your first and your second back surgery?
Oh man, that's. I got my old man in the background. Hold on one second. I'm gonna ask him. Hey, Dad. Do you know how long between my back surgeries?
Um, December 1st, 14 for your fusion.
So
And it was
give me a guesstimate.
November because you didn't have your first surgery until you got after getting married and coming back, and I think it was in November
So
2014.
so how long's that?
That would be 13 months.
13 months.
Yeah. So for that period of time, the 13 months, you said that you were basically in constant pain the whole time and competing for over a year.
Yeah. It was for I guess a couple months after, a few months after. I don't think I did anything. It's hard to remember. I mean, to be honest with you, I was so doped up for so long, right? Like I don't even remember. I was competing, and like the pain was just unbelievable. Like I've never experienced pain like that.
So what was the you were going through, you were competing, just kind of managing as best you could with painkillers. What was that? What was it that made you say, like, I need to stop doing this? Like, was it the second surgery, or?
I think, like, I started to realize that, well, first off, going through all those injuries and, like, being in severe pain, like, it affected my wife, you know? I mean, I go home and, like, I guess, to put it simply, I started to realize that I was not only sabotaging myself, but I'm starting to affect other people's lives. Like, my parents, you know, my wife, just in general, you know, like it's not just yourself. It's the students, because I'm gone, because I'm on bed rest. My job, like, you know, they're still trying to help me financially while I'm on bed rest. You know, the guy's been amazing, you know, and yeah, like I realized basically I was affecting other people. It's not just myself, and I got to stop being so selfish and stop look at myself in the mirror, fix the problem, and then go back and restart.
Because you've got young kids too, right? Or one young
No,
one?
no, no.
No?
I wait. I need a few years. I got to make sure I can take care of myself, you know. And
Yeah, good point. How old are you again?
26.
Yeah, so you've been, as far as injuries are concerned, you've been through a lot, and at a young age, man.
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster for sure.
You mentioned desperation, right? You were saying like you were just so desperate to compete, so desperate to perform well, and you're popping Percocets on day 2 of the Chicago open weight and stuff. Like, where does that stem by? Like, were you under any pressure to perform, like to get these results, or is this personal?
That's the worst part, you know, Ahmed. That's what makes it even worse. To answer that question, because no, I wasn't. It was pressure from myself. My professor, well, George, he said, "Man, rest." He never ever pressured me, not once. He was always really, really supportive in the way that I should have done things as well, Josh. Like I had nobody pushing me in that direction. I had everybody giving me the right information. I didn't listen. I was stubborn, and it's not that I didn't respect people's opinions, but I was just stubborn, you know?
Oh, see, I was thinking like I wasn't sorry. I should have rephrased that because I didn't mean that people were making you do it. I thought maybe you had some sponsorships or something that you had to deliver, and like a lot of sponsorships pay you based on performance. So I was just wondering if it was maybe a financial thing.
You know, that's a good point too. Yeah, like I don't even remember when I signed the contract with like I started a sponsorship with Five, and then I signed a contract with Show Your Role. But when you start with them, it's like almost probationary, you know? It's like see how you do, and then we'll go from there. So of course, I really wanted to do well, and then so when those good things started to happen, sponsorship wise, that's when everything fell apart, and now I'm sort of where I'm at here.
Can you speak on the sponsorship thing? Like, where I'm always interested in hearing that. But were you told that you need to medal X amount of times a year or something like that? Or
No, just it was, when I talked to like the Bear about it, it's just just do your best. There was nothing in particular, and then we'll just take it from there. The contract was nothing crazy, paying for major tournaments and equipment and things like that. Nothing crazy, and
Yeah.
and then the sponsorship increases obviously if you stay successful for the year and you continue to do better, and pretty much that. But if that I don't know if that answers.
Yeah, no, that's
Well,
perfect.
that definitely creates some sort of pressure, man. Like, I mean, you want to do well, you want to improve your sponsorship, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. You get excited, like, oh, that's a good brand or this or that, and you start to feel, you put a bit of an ego in yourself, and you put pressure on yourself. You want to be good, and you want people to think you're good, and all this type of. It's just.
But you got to feel like that's a good opportunity as well, and like you don't want to miss out on that opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I definitely felt that way. I wanted to. I'm like, oh wow, this is my chance. To really, really push forward and get even better, do really well, and make my career even better. And I sabotaged myself by the decisions that I made.
If we can go back to the injuries really quick, more specifically the back, is there something in particular that you can suggest to other practitioners out there on like what we can avoid? So, for example, obvious one would be a lot of inverted guard, right? Like it's pretty tough on the back and the neck, right?
Yeah, that's.
Like what movements make you cringe and you're like, don't do that. It's gonna hurt you in the long run.
It's like for the sciatic nerve. I don't know if this is like what would affect other people, but when you actually have sciatic pain, it's like think of like your legs like are straight and you're doing like a pike stretch and you're almost stretching the muscle fat, like the fascia. There's like this sheath that surrounds your muscles, and it's like when you do that type of stretching, it's like when you do pike stretching, you get that ache, that sort of aching stretch. That's when like the pain really hurts. I think any of that inverted stuff is what's going to cause you a lot of pain and problems with your back. But pretty much, I just think if you have an injury, if there's something bothering you, rest, get it checked out, get a CAT scan, get an X-ray, wait for the MRI, put yourself on the cancellation list so you can say, hey, I'll go at 4 a.m. Take the necessary steps to not end up like what I did. People have this thing where all the competitors, and I'm sure you guys have seen it or have felt it, that, if I'm not training, other guys are getting better than me, I gotta train, and then you don't want to miss days. But in the end, you're putting yourself actually even farther back. It's like if you're having back pain, go address the problem, rest, watch video, study jiu-jitsu, and I don't know, swim, do other like cross trainings where you're not hurting your back. It's just I would take those steps if I could turn back time,
Yeah. No doubt.
So Thomas, where are you right now with respect to training? I know so you had your last surgery December of last year, so you're a few months in after surgery now. So like where are you at? Where are you hoping to get back to with training?
I saw my surgeon a couple weeks ago, and they did like the CAT scans, like the 3-month follow-up, and he said it looks good. Like the cadaver bones they put the cadavers like in a I don't know what you call it. Anyways, it's supposed to fuse right into like one piece, and then he says it looks really good, like it's healing well, but he said no training in jiu-jitsu of any capacity for another 6 months. So I'm just gonna teach, and I guess I can still jog lightly and swim, he said, and teach jiu-jitsu. So eat healthy. I guess that's pretty much what I'm gonna focus on.
How has the fusion affected your mobility in your back?
Actually, it's not too bad because it's I forget, one of them is like the L5. I forget the other one. But it's the lumbar, so like there's 3 sections on the back. Mine was like in the the lower part, right, the lumbar region of the back. So if there's a place to get a fusion, that's the place you want to get it. So when I come back to training, I don't really have much of an excuse mobility-wise. So I think it should be fine.
Well, that's at least something, man.
Yeah, totally. I'm happy at least for that, for sure.
So, Thomas, if you don't mind us getting into some of the financial questions, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Shoot, man.
So when you were injured, and especially the bed rest, and you were off for quite some time and stuff, you mind if I ask, like, how did you, like, you're an official employee at Toronto BJJ? I mean,
yeah. So
benefits and stuff like that, or?
Yeah, I've been there for so long, and I'm so lucky that I have my professor who supports me and Josh. You know, of course I have a wife. She has a decent paying job, you know, so that does help.
Mm-hmm.
And but it was frustrating because I mean we bought a home, right, and in Malton. But so financially, I was stressed about it, but I was paid while I sat on my ass the entire time, and you know, Josh didn't have to do that. He didn't have to give me a cent. I've had a number of these times where I've been on bed rest, and he's paid me, and yeah, he's been really. I've been really fortunate. Like, there's been a lot of unlucky stuff, but I've been treated really well, and I'm really lucky for that. So.
Wow. That is pretty amazing, actually.
Yeah, I'm super lucky. I'm so appreciative to him. He's been a great friend, a great employer, and so, yeah.
Oh, all right. But is there, again, like, you have a really unique scenario, right? Like, not many people would have what you have, though. Like, is there something that you can, how can I say, like, other guys who might be in your situation who aren't in the same financial support system as you, is there something that maybe you can offer, like guidance or something, because there must be somebody out there right now who's going through something similar to you, but they don't have those nice, you know, don't have friends like you do, you know what I mean? I know it's a tough question to answer, but
I think in the end, nothing in life is free, you know, like, I believe I ended up in that situation also because I was there for a long time, and I've always been loyal and did my part to work with the academy and do everything I could possibly to be, you know what I mean? And then, so I benefited from that, but as well, I was fortunate too. But for other people, if you're young and you live on your own, I'd say don't be too proud and move back with mom and dad. You know, like, if my family lived here and we could have stayed, I could stay with my family, like in the basement or whatever, I'd do it. Yeah. Like, no shame, just save that. I can't really think of anything else. I mean, for the young people.
No, that's good.
A lot of this must have really changed your perspective on training, as far as, you know, your longevity in the sport as well, right?
Oh, 100%. Like, now when I'm coaching, the guys get mad at me sometimes. I'm so neurotic about it. Like, if you come in late, like, you're not rolling unless I see you sweating, you're not rolling. Like, if you're tired, like, if there's something I see that you have a bit of an injury, just go home. Like, don't get injured. It's not worth it. Like, it can turn into a nightmare, right?
Yeah, no doubt. I don't know, like, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, you know, do you ever, you know, other than you know what you said that you did regret, which was training while you're injured, you know, do you regret, you know, I don't know if it's the right question to ask, but do you kind of ever blame jiu-jitsu for, you know, putting yourself into this position where, you know, you're a young guy, you've had surgeries, and you know, you're going to have long-term effects from that? Like, do you ever get mad at jiu-jitsu, I guess, or wish that, you know, you hadn't found it, you taken up, you know, bocce ball instead?
That's a good question. No, I don't blame jiu-jitsu. Maybe I wish I picked up another sport where you can actually make money from it. You know? And, like, I wish I got into something where, like, I got good at it and, like, you can actually make money. But No, I'm not mad at jiu-jitsu. I don't blame it. In fact, I think the way I grew up and I was a silly kid, you know, like a lot of people, and was in trouble and stuff. And I think you know how you hear that, oh, jiu-jitsu saved my life, and everybody says it, but I really do think it saved my life. So if anything, I'm thankful for jiu-jitsu. Like, I don't know where I'd be. I don't know if I would have grown into a better man and met my wife, and you know, like, I think it's given me a lot. So I'm thankful to jiu-jitsu, if anything.
Good.
One of the great things, Ben, is that you are still really young, and you have a lot of years of jiu-jitsu ahead of you.
Totally, yeah. I hope so. I'm gonna do my best to see how long I can go.
Thomas, have you ever given it any thought? Like, will we see you compete again, do you think? Or do you want to
Oh man,
teaching?
When people ask me that, like, my answer's gonna always be the same, is yes, because like the doctor says, oh, that's sort of stupid, but I mean, I think without a dream, like, you might as well just put a freaking gun to your head. Like, what's the point in living if you don't have something to be passionate about? And like, this is my passion, you know? And I worked hard, and I think through all this suffering, if I weren't to try and be successful at the black belt level in the big competitions, then I would be doing myself a big injustice. Like, I don't. And then they say, well, what if you don't win the black belt world championships? And I just, it's not about that, you know. Like, yeah, the odds of winning is so low. You know what I mean? It's not just about being the best guy. You got to be lucky on that day and everything. But the one thing I can't accept is not trying. I can accept losing, that's okay, but I can't accept not giving my 100 and trying my best, because I don't know. I couldn't live with myself if I didn't go back and give a few years of 100%.
Has this changed your goals at all?
No, I think it's the same. Just I want to see how well I can do in the black belt, because I think I've sort of made my mind as I've gone through the ranks. Like, you're trying to prepare yourself for the black belt, and I think they stay the same. You know, just like see if I can win some major titles in the black belt. I hope. I'm gonna try, right?
I only say, man, because like I feel if I had gone through what you've gone through, my goals might be just to be able to compete again. Not about winning black belt at Worlds or anything like that, but if I could even get to the point where I could compete, that would be incredible for me.
Yeah, you know what? The way you said that, yeah, maybe I could have given a better answer, actually. Like, I'm not thinking like right away, you know, like I want to have my first goals, like I want to be able to sit in the toilet and take a shit and not be in pain, or you know what I mean? Like, I want to be able to sit here and talk to you right now and not be doped up and have a bunch of drugs in me so I'm not in pain. Like, that's my first goal. You know, I want to be able to roll in 6 months and roll and have fun with my friends on the mats and enjoy and go have a bite to eat after and enjoy that aspect, you know, like that's number one. So I see what you're saying. Like, there's definitely steps. I'm not thinking just like right to the mats, black belt world champion, I got to do this and that. No, I don't think like that. No.
If we rewind just a little bit when you were talking about training, do you recommend people in any capacity to train 3 times a day? I mean, I've mentioned this. Yeah, I was going to say, I mentioned this before. Professional athletes in hockey, they practice once before a game, and you know what I mean? Like,
you know what? I think you look at sports like even like judo and wrestling, you know, which I use them because they're really old sports and they have a lot of like, you know, sports science behind them, and they're the ones that are sort of closely related to us. But with jiu-jitsu, we're so young in the game, and like people have no fucking clue what they're doing. And I think we're starting to come around now. Like, it's like people have no idea about like tapering, like how like when you're far away from a competition, the volume should be high, the intensity low, and then when you get close to the competition, the intensity high and the volume low. Like these type of aspects, like the sports science is so important. And in my opinion now, like when I come back to it, like a triple day, like is idiotic. Like, I don't understand. I would never do that again. No.
okay. That's good to know. I mean, I know a lot of people still do it, and
I don't understand how people do it, to be honest. And it's not, I'm by no means a high level competitor. Some people question whether I'm a competitor at all. But I know for me, there have been times like I spent a week in Toronto last year, and I trained at a bunch of different clubs, dropped in, and just training every day for 5 days. By the end of it, it was, I was like, I'd go train in the morning, I'd get back to the place I was staying, I'd pop a muscle relaxant, try to have a nap, wake up, just stiff as shit, go back, try to train again. It's like, and that was
it's hard, man. I hear you.
1 week, and I'm like, this is crazy.
It's tough. It's tough. I think. I do believe also like the weight differences. Like if you're an ultra heavyweight, like a training is much harsher on your body. Like that whole strength to weight ratio. Like if you're a rooster weight, maybe you can train with more volume. I'm not sure. Maybe. I just the double days I believe are good, but I even think with that like it shouldn't be 7 days a week. You should have a day off, and as well. With those double days, one of the trainings should be, high intensity, it should be hard, and one of them should be a lot easier. I don't see the benefit to training like crazy like that. You're just gonna hurt yourself. And to add to that, on the topic of like people say, okay, well if you train 3 times a day, just take a bunch of steroids and then you can train. But like, yeah, steroids they heal your muscles. But they're not healing your central nervous system. You're still going to be burnt out in that way. So there's no way around it. Like you shouldn't be training 3 times a day, in my opinion. I mean, if there's guys who say train 3 times a day and they have more education than me on it, then you know what I mean. I can't argue with them, but that's just my opinion.
Thomas, can I ask, when you were training at that volume, did you ever try steroids to try to aid in recovery or?
I've tried a cycle before. I'll be straight with you, and I don't really see the benefit. Like it's a huge part of the sport, especially in black belt, But to be honest, when I tried it was actually like not really with jiu-jitsu because before I started jiu-jitsu, I was in weightlifting. And I was a skinny kid. I wanted to, get big and strong and stuff. But I don't think there's a huge benefit for it. Like I don't know. I just think training, being dedicated, eating healthy, doing it the right way.
Do you think there are a lot of guys out there that are doing it like that so that they can do 3 days?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
I think there's a lot of steroids, man. There's a lot of steroids.
It's everywhere, man.
Yeah, I'm not gonna bullshit. I think that for me in future, I don't feel like that's something I want to do because, like I've been told by a trainer, actually, like we have a guy at the gym. You know Matt Pasquale, right?
Yeah.
He gave me a really good example. He's like, the problem with you, he's like you're really strong but you're really weak, and when you have strong muscles but like your stabilizers, like you could say like a rotator cuff for example, are weak and you have weak supporting muscles, you injure a lot easier. So getting stronger and taking gear and stuff like that is not going to help. He said, you got to fix those problems. You're like a cannon on a canoe. If you've ever heard that expression,
That's good.
So yeah, it just clicked when he told me that, and it's like, so getting stronger really isn't the idea for me, at least. It's just better conditioning, flexibility, strengthening those small muscles, and just being safer on the mat so I can actually compete and not get injured anymore.
Have you or do you plan to do do you do yoga or anything like that to try to help with flexibility or the stabilizing muscles, those sorts of things?
I played around with yoga a little bit before, but I never really stuck with it because, I tried hot yoga and holy fuck, that's hard, eh? I think in future for sure I will be doing yoga. Like my wife really loves it, and I'll I think I'm gonna do it with her when I'm allowed to do more physical stuff. And like I remember when I went to hot yoga with a bunch of the guys from the academy, and we were all just dying. And I was looking around, and I'm looking at all these like 50-year-old women, and they're just killing it. And I'm like, I'm supposed to be some high-level athlete, and I'm looking at, and I was dying. I was dying, man. And I was suffering so bad. I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Jeez. Can I go back again to you mentioned you're a very loyal guy, right? So now I know this is old mentality and stuff like that, but we're seeing a lot in not just in Ontario, but we're seeing it in California with some of the other guests we've had on and stuff like that. But a lot of people jumping ship, right? From school to school, and some are legit reasons. Some are, hey, I'm moving away to another city. My job has changed. Whatever, like whatever. But there are some others who are, switching for maybe a better opportunity and stuff like that. And and so I want to ask you, as an instructor, a black belt, when you see that happening and people coming to you as students, and I'm not talking about your school specifically. I'm just saying if this happens, do you have an opinion in your head where you're like, okay, they might jump ship again, or they might, and do you hold back on the learning, or do you just accept it as it is, or?
I see it like this. Like, should you want me to, like, for myself, or just strictly the students that I'm teaching?
Oh no, just an opinion, like on let's just
In
say
general.
like in general, like nothing specific, just.
I think that the old mentality that, like, créance or whatever, créance, I don't know how you say it. I think it's starting to move a little bit away from that. I mean, like for me, I was gonna go train at Marcelo's, and but then I had the injuries and it didn't end up happening. And George, he's really gotten cooler with that stuff. He's pretty easygoing, and he has no problem. And he's very, like, old school, like, loyal like that. But still, he's like, yeah, go train, And my opinion on it is, for other guys, go train. Sometimes we have students come up and go, oh, Tom or George, like, I trained at my friend's academy. Like, I feel bad. Did I make a mistake? No, man, just go train, go enjoy. Like, if you're like a serious competitor, you try to stay with your team, like, especially for the recreational guys. Like, you're coming here strictly just to enjoy yourself. Like, you should not have to feel like you have to stick to one gym. Like, if you want to go train with your friends somewhere else, go train. No one should tell you otherwise. That's fucking ridiculous, And even for competitors, like, if we have guys who are like, hey, man, I have a friend, I'm going to go train at Ryan Hall's. I want to learn the 50-50. I'm going to go train with him for a month. If I had a student say that to me, who's a competitor, I would say, yeah, go, man, for sure. Why not? Like, I think that old mentality is somewhat garbage. So I don't know if that answers.
That's a refreshing view. I mean, you're also a young black belt, right? So that's where it's going to go. But I guess what I meant is, like, if you have a student who comes in from another school, and do you instantly accept them as one of your own, is what I'm asking.
Okay. Well, we're sort of in that situation, right? We had some guys come over, and I guess I'll use a couple names, for example, like the Crimus and Mosley, those guys, and they're just trying to do the best for their career, and like, I try to accept people as quick as possible, like, why not? I mean, they're really nice guys, and they're just trying to do the best they can for their career, and, like, I completely understand that. Like, I know how much I want it for myself, and, like, that wouldn't be fair of me to not be accepting of them and help them, like, they're just trying to live their jiu-jitsu dream, and I support it 100%.
I don't know. Good answer.
Let them come in, and I want to help them as much as possible, make them feel comfortable. And if one day they're like, hey, Tom, George, I think I have an opportunity. I have an uncle who lives here, and I can go train at Atos. Go. Like, just, I don't want to hold people back, like, because I don't want to be held back myself. I think you just gotta let people do their thing. You know.
That's a good point. I have a question for you that is only it's partially related to something you said. So you and anybody who I know from Toronto BJJ all speaks very highly of Josh, the owner, and I know that Josh and I have had our maybe differences online on a regular basis. So here's an opportunity for you to set the record straight. Tell me about Josh, because
don't be shy. Shoot, man. Ask anything you want. So what are you asking? I'm open to anything.
No, I just like all the Toronto BJJ guys speak so highly of Josh, but him and I always seem to get into fights online. So
Okay.
tell me like what's good about Josh. I gotta know.
Okay, Josh. Okay, here we go. I'll tell you about Josh. Josh is sometimes, I guess, he stirs the pot a little bit online, and he's really proud of the academy, and I think he can, poke and prod at people sometimes, maybe that's not the best, and he's not perfect in those ways, but I can tell you, like, I value people's loyalty, I value people's like moral code as a good human being, having a good heart. Like, those are the people I want to be around. And if you're not that type of person, I don't care if you're good at jiu-jitsu, I don't care if you have money, I don't care anything. If you're not that type of person, you can go fuck off, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want you in my life if you're not a positive person. And Josh is one of the best people I've like ever known. The guy's he's got a heart. He's got a heart bigger than his head. He really is a good person. I'm telling you, genuinely. And
that's a big head too, man. That's a big head.
And I totally understand. Yeah, he can definitely step on toes sometimes. And I think it's completely warranted to fire back. Like, you guys do your thing, but I do stand by him as a close friend, and he's a good guy.
Nope, I respect that. I respect that.
I totally understand you guys having your battles online. That's
a lot of it's just fun though. Like, it's just mess around. Adam, maybe Josh will sponsor you after hearing that.
Maybe. I'll not like hold my breath waiting for that.
I'm staying out of this.
Josh, if you're listening, sponsor me.
Yeah, someone sponsor this man. He got silver at Grappling Industries.
I don't know where to go from here. I'm just gonna drink this drink and like
just cut it off. It just like fades to black now.
Yeah.
What's up, Tom?
Yeah, no, just to cap off. Yeah, like I can't stress it enough. Like, like, for example, when I was in the hospital, I was in the hospital for a couple weeks after the major surgery. Like, man, Josh slept in a freaking chair beside me, and he's a big boy. It's not as comfortable for him, I can tell you. He's stayed by my side. You know what I mean? I got all the respect in the world for him. I got a lot of love for that guy. So.
That's awesome. Yeah.
But I understand, anyways,
really awesome.
the other people's sides, like I understand. I don't know where to go from there.
No, that's fine. That's good. Tom, is there anybody else that you wanted to, anything else you wanted to say, kind of in closing? Anybody else that you wanted to thank? Sponsors? Any other people who have helped out? Anything like that?
Well, at this point, let me think. In the jiu-jitsu world, thank you to thank you to Josh, always holding it down. My professor, always holding it down. All the students, because the motivation to come back and like teach, and that's what makes me happy as well, is to like teach the students, and they give me a lot of a lot of happiness, you know, to teach them and be around them, you know. Like I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky to have the job that I have, and so thanks to all those people. And that's pretty much that's it. I guess thanks to Five Grappling, you know, he's been a really good support as well. He even came to the hospital to support me, you know. So I have a lot of respect for him, and I hope when I come back I can represent them well at the highest level, hopefully. And thanks for you guys having me on. I really appreciate it, and I enjoyed our talk and a few awkward moments.
Yeah. No, and thanks so much for coming on. Like, you know, I'd love to have you back, you know, in 6 months or so when you're back on the mats and see how that progress is going. Yeah,
for sure. I'd look forward to it. And again, thanks a lot for having me on, man.
Yeah, Tom, thanks so much for coming on. Thanks for sharing your story with us, and we'll keep in touch.
Yeah, my pleasure, man. Okay, thanks again, and I guess I'll see you guys around.
Yeah, for sure.
Sounds good. Take care.
Thanks a
All
lot,
right,
man.
cheers, guys. Take care.
All right, see ya.
All right, see ya.